and Assalamu alaikum. My today's guest at the Career Talks is a very dynamic and prolific corporate lawyer by profession, and a strategic thinker by instinct, and a multitasker by necessity. Like many others, she is a proud graduate of University of London's LLB Honours External Programme, and today is currently heading the legal wing of not just one, but two massively fast-paced operating bodies in the media and fintech landscapes. Her work portfolio and professional journey has been an amalgamation of navigating very complex regulatory frameworks, drafting high-stakes content licensing agreements, and smartly, rather gracefully, navigating the daily curveballs of the corporate law ecosystem. What fuels her is her ever-present cup of joe as her most reliable co-counsel. For her, law is indeed not just a profession, but it is a very powerful tool for structure, creativity, and service with an impact. Please welcome none other than the head of legal for Simpaisa and Tapmad, Ms. Mahnoor Ahmed at the Career Talks. Assalamu alaikum, Mahnoor. Thank you so much for being one of our most consistent guests ever.
Thank you.
And we cannot be more grateful for your presence. Since the audience of Career Talks is primarily, it's a good blend of current LLB honors students that we have, but the reach is going to be everybody who belongs to the profession of law. They're graduates and as well as young professionals. So your voice is going to be creating a very, very solid impact in all their lives, and they must be taking notes because that is what the actual mandate of the Career Talks is. So thank you. I will take you back a little, right? Because there has to be a certain level of relatability with the audience. What inspired you towards this field? Because back in those days, and we still remember that when we think of law picked up the pace since the past 5 to 6, 7 years, right? Yeah. Prior to that, there were fields of medical and engineering which were considered to be the most hyped up field and the most credible fields that students can kind of like pursue academically. Was it something that was ingrained in you since the very beginning by somebody? Was the influence a little external? Was it a career or an academic pursuit by choice? What did you identify in yourself that made you pick law as an academic and then eventually a professional pursuit?
Firstly, thank you for having me. Second, I think answering your question, unfortunately for a lot who are expecting this to be something that I've always wished for or I was very much interested in, it's nothing of that sort. Yes, when I was like a really small child, it was something that I wanted to do, become a barrister without even knowing what law is.
Yeah.
But when it came to actually picking a professional field, getting to O levels and then A levels, my choice was medicine. And my brother already being a doctor in the family, this was something that was considered that, you should do something else.
Yes, let's create some diversity.
Yes, let's create some diversity. And even in that time, the medical field was not as comfortable for girls considering the nights and the kind of routine that they have to do. Yeah, very stretchy hours. So it wasn't something that my family was comfortable, specifically my brother was comfortable in. So he basically recommended that, do something else. And in something else, I thought this is one of the options that I can pick because of multiple reasons, right? It has the University of London thing. I was from a Cambridge background. It was something that made sense to me in comparison to all the other Pakistani degrees that we can do where the system completely changes from Cambridge, right? If you go for a BBA, for example, if you go for any other degree that is Pakistani HEC based, it is a very different education system, the learning, the way you do your exams, all of those things change significantly. In University of London, there was the same thing. You had the British Council. You would go for the exam once a year, twice a year, depending on how often you're picking up your subjects. There was a bit of a familiarity over there. And in addition to the familiarity, I was someone who was very vocal. I think being the youngest of the family, my dad kind of always gave me that. It wasn't the voice, right? And it was something that used to not be something comfortable for the rest of the family because we're not used to it. We belong to a Punjabi family. Women are not supposed to speak that much. But my father had changed enough by the time that it was my time to grow up that he used to be like, no, let her speak.
And we are loud also.
Exactly.
Yeah, not only we have a voice, but you're loud.
We're very loud. Yeah. So, I mean, I was allowed to speak. I was allowed to be vocal, and I was extremely opinionated as well. So that was something I was like, this is something I can pursue. I can become a litigator. And then Suits came in around that time too. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be Jessica Pearson of Pakistan. So that's basically how I got into it.
Okay.
And
was it identified by your father, or was it something? What did he ask you to further, decipher in knowing the intricacies of what this field is all about, or was it like or was it something that was coming intrinsically by you also?
The position that I'm at today, like in-house, or you mean just law?
Just law per se.
No. So there was no pressure from their side, no advice, no suggestion, no pressure. They were like, do whatever you want to do, just as long as it's not medicine.
Right.
I was like, okay.
And law is another option that you can explore.
Yes. And at that time, as you said, it was very limited. There were like 2 or 3 universities offering it, and brand new universities opening just for this program as well. And when I joined it, my brother, who was not in Pakistan by that time, he was not very comfortable either. Because he was like, this is really fresh. Like, are you sure you want to pick up a degree that's not there in Pakistan? I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to move abroad? How are you going to do your career? What's going to happen there? Is it even going to get recognized in Pakistan? It's like, we'll figure all of that out.
Okay.
It'll happen in due time.
Yes.
Let me just go ahead with what's happening. And I did that.
Yes.
I believe my entire career trajectory has a lot of push from my brother.
Okay.
It's unwantingly at some moments. There are those moments where you just don't want to go in a particular direction, but then someone just pushes you and it works out. This is one of those things for me. I mean, my brother has been that constant push that no, you can, you should, you should do something better, be better, and
that's what happened.
Pushed me to where I am.
But it's actually true that foresightedness actually works at times, because what they have been doing, and this is exactly where I hope that the voice reaches to a lot of parents out there, that kind of like dissect what your what your child must be good at, dissect their strengths.
Absolutely.
And do not and weaknesses also.
Yeah.
If you think that they're opinionated and that might not serve in the best interest in future, move them towards a field where opinions
matters
and a stronger mind and a stronger voice actually works, and they can make money out of it.
That's what they say, right? Turn your skill into your job.
Yes.
Whatever you have.
And you won't be working any single day of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah. How, and we'll come to Simpaisa and Tapmad. So, okay, fine. You graduated. Then did you think of postgrad as the immediate step, or just moving towards how did this vocational experience started? Did it start from the very first year onwards? It's important for the students, and why am I asking this very categorically is because I deal with the careers, right?
Yeah.
And from the very first year onwards, it's something ingrained in them. Rightfully so, because they are going to be in that tertiary sector of the market where actually service matters and it leads an impact. And this is exactly where you absorb the most of your expertise and skill set. But is it crucial to think of internships, apprenticeships from the very first year onwards? Or should you keep that, or should you maintain those first 2 to 3 years where you kind of like are very academically rooted, your focus is only on one side, and then the vocational can be, sorted out later? How to kind of like navigate a certain blend and balance, how to strike that balance?
So, the thing is that the profession that we're in, it's very much, there's your sources matter as well, unfortunately. It's not all merit-based. Okay. So there's that one thing that will always outweigh merit for anyone who's thinking merit is the way to go forward, right? I mean, if you've got someone who's got a contact in a particular firm or they've got a contact in a particular company, you can get your first job right out of graduation without having had anything on your resume, right? And you could also be someone who's merit-based and has a very average CV, which is someone like me. I did not have too many internships on my resume when I graduated. I had two, if I'm not wrong, two or three. Like every summers, I did an internship just because of this whole mindset that we had in place, right? That we have to have
get it.
We need to have a resume, otherwise there's no getting into any law firm. And then I applied to 41 law firms, like 41 places in total. 41. I had an Excel sheet. Yes, I had an Excel sheet. I sat down one day. I got the email IDs, made my entire Excel. That's, I think, the first and the last time I worked on Excel. I'm not an Excel fan at all. So I did that, and I sat down and I sent out my resume to 41 places. My Gmail was loaded. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Changing names.
Everyone is going to ask you for that Excel sheet in the comments, I believe. Ms. Mahnoor, can you please share those 41 places that we can, reach out to?
Out of those, in Pakistan, you do not get a rejection email that often. They don't even bother responding. If you don't, no response is the rejection over here, right?
Yeah.
So no one really responded. I got like 3 responses of rejection or hold, and one after like 2 or 3 weeks of an acceptance. That was my first job that I got.
Anybody else, I think, would have gone really down in the dumps after all this?
I think I was also very morally hit. The impression that I had of the legal field.
I have a foreign degree in my hands.
Yes.
And excuse me.
And everyone else is doing stuff, right? Like by that time, my entire grade, like I was a batch of I think 24 or 25 students, and all of them were working. And I was the only one who had no job.
And if I may ask, just for the audience to know, were there any distinctions, or was it the good?
Yes, we had a first-class degree holder in my grade. We had multiple distinctions, a lot of merits.
Second-class honors, and first.
I was a credit degree person.
Yeah.
And yes, that did take a toll, right? I mean, I'm not good enough, and I don't think I can make it in this field. It's just not going to happen. It's not for me. A lot of those thoughts just kept on going on because everyone else had a job at this point, and I'm the only one sitting at home. Been a month. What do I do? And by this time, the social media was active. Everyone puts up like a story of their, checking into work, or emails look like this or that, and you're like,
oh, you're depressed. Let's make it worse. Let's make it worse.
Social media does not help.
Yes.
So I ended up getting a job after like 2 or 3 weeks of having applied to that entire list, and I started off in a corporate law firm, and.
That was a good name?
Yes, it was a good name.
Okay.
But again, not extremely good. It wasn't the top. Yeah, mid-tier. Mid-tier, exactly. But my experience there was not fun.
No learning.
No learning. No, there was learning, but there was a lot of solitude. I was the only associate.
Oh.
One associate in the whole law firm, working 6 days a week. I mean, when you get out of our law schools over here, we have like 4 hours of university, right?
Yeah.
And then jumping from that to 10 to 7
8 hours.
And 6 days a week, it's not fun. And our universities were full of people. There's interaction, there's socializing, you're getting something, you're interacting with people. It's nice, it's fun. When you are in solitude, it's not fun.
But keeping solitude on one end, were those 10 hours, are you trying to say, not productive?
So
wasn't enough work given to you?
That's the thing.
Or you were missing
these
that
things don't
camaraderie at work?
Missing the camaraderie at work is one thing for sure, matters a lot.
Because you were relying on, as a newcomer, you rely on a certain treatment and, training and, learning. Yes.
Training is very important. You can't just give someone something and expect them to do it. This is not the era of ChatGPT. I'm talking about an era when ChatGPT did not exist.
Did not exist, yes.
Right? We used to use our own brains for our own emails,
certainly.
for our own agreements, our own everything.
Certainly, oh yes.
Right? So, law firms had this thing that they don't teach you the same way that you used to from university. And university does not teach you practical. Nothing practical gets taught at university.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, things are changing now.
Now.
Right? Like I've seen a lot of Denning students now get a lot of practical experience when they're in the universities. But at our times, none of that was present. Right? The entire focus was exams.
And no guidance also. No guidance.
No guidance.
I believe people were not even even the mentors weren't well versed.
They weren't.
The teachers and mentors weren't well versed with the market.
Yeah, no. They'll see who their favorite child is. They'll put that favorite student into a good whatever contacts that they had. That's about it.
It was just a status quo. It was just following the herd, following a certain mechanics.
Basically,
what rest of the majority is doing, you should also do that. Follow the stream.
And the thing about the law firms not teaching the people, the new employees, like the new hires, is that it creates a lot of pressure. You get into a field and you don't know anything, and then there's no one to teach you. That's just not how you do it. And it's the problem of the law firms in Pakistan.
Yes.
I think maybe internationally as well, but I know of this city at least that once you join, there's a lot of rough treatment. They expect you to just grab onto things, pick up yourself. The whole concept of teaching goes out of the window, right? And I'm not even asking for spoon feeding. I'm saying just teach. Just tell what's right, what's wrong. That thing is missing in our market. So as a person who chose law because, I was opinionated and now coming to a place where my opinions don't even matter, right? Because my say, there is no say.
There's no say.
I just get told you're supposed to do this and just give it to me. It's someone else's name that will go on the project that you worked on, someone else's name that will go on every single effort that you put in. So the shift was uncomfortable.
Extremely demotivating.
Yes, it wasn't anything that I expected it to be. So I think...
and it's even worse for those who visit the court for the very first time.
Litigation. Even I did that too. After my corporate law, I went into litigation.
Okay.
It's not a woman's field. To every female who's doing it, every female lawyer, you have my utmost respect. Because I've tried it and it's not comfortable.
Yes. And that is one of the biggest dilemmas, I would say, that we have. That such bright minds and such bright girls are still not able, they're scarred of the field. They resist stepping into that zone, just because what the environment has to offer. And these minds, I just feel that they shouldn't rust, and people like you and me should become, the driving force, that they should not give up on their dreams.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get frustrating on the other side.
Absolutely.
It is going to test your patience. It is going to test your endurance, and it is certainly a zone, a field, a pathway for thick-skinned women.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
Yes.
So so you went there. Talk a little about that experience.
So, thick-skinned in terms of everything.
Everything.
Weather.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
First thing.
Oh yes.
Right.
Yes. You cannot be a princess.
Yes, absolutely can't be.
Yes.
And I believe I am one. Which is why I've been lost over there.
Certainly you are. Yes.
And that's it's a male-dominant field, and there's no respect for personal space. It's a very language-dominant field as well. So if you know a certain language, you might get certain respect. which if you don't know it, there's no way you're getting
So this
it right.
litigation experience was also with a decent firm that you were...
I did my litigation experience with Khushbak Jalani.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, again, a very...
She's an
very
amazing lawyer.
An
And
activist, an
yes.
activist of her kind. And,
Yes. She changed the pathway for litigation for women.
Yes,
I
certainly.
really believe she
Certainly.
has a very serious impact. And I think the way that I contacted her was also very...
You were in the legal aid?
No.
Okay.
I just messaged her on LinkedIn saying, I've seen that she does this and I would want her to please teach me.
Yeah.
And she was so, flabbergasted by the fact that someone who is of the same age, same experience level, wants to learn and is reaching out to learn. And, the whole situation, she was so happy about it. And very randomly, I messaged her on LinkedIn, she responded to me.
She's
and now we're great
She's
friends.
Extremely supportive.
Exactly. She took me to court. She taught me from scratch, the documentation, where do I go for what, how do I do what.
No, she's very proper. She's very proper in everything that she does.
Yes.
I know her in the capacity of handling one of the clients that I introduced to her.
Okay.
And I was then getting a feedback from the client, and they were so impressed. They were like, the way, just because it was a certain level of reference, the way they were handled. And then she asked me, Adeela, would you write? Because she was starting her own, little firm. And she was like, would you write a testimonial for me? I was like, of course, So I penned down a testimonial for her website. But this is actually, she has left her own signature in the field.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not easy. Yes. It's not easy.
And she's done it while maintaining empathy.
Oh, yeah.
She did not let go of her femininity or her emotions when getting into it. So usually what happens is that if you want to survive in this field, you have to become masculine, right? Women become masculine. You look at the ladies in the court and they are very masculine because they have to survive.
Yes.
I think she's the only one who I know who's maintained that charisma. She has this style. She has this entire way of carrying herself, and be that in court or on her LinkedIn or her social media. She's gorgeous everywhere, maintains that thing everywhere, and does it with
and has fun with it. I have fun with it. I've seen her having a lot of fun with her own teammates and associates. Now she has a very solid team.
Yes, she does.
And of very young lawyers and fresh graduates even. So doing a fantastic job. And the way they have maintained that protocol and rhythm with every single client.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. It's leaving a very solid signature. How then litigation, you had how much experience? How many months did you serve in that litigation? 6 months.
Couldn't do it more than that.
Couldn't do more than that, okay. And what did Khushbak at that time, or whoever you were reporting to, did they talk you out of it? Did they convince you?
Never. Khushbak wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
She's someone who really, she understands that it's a very difficult field, and she very clearly and very honestly tells everyone that it is difficult. You've got to be, strong. You've got to go through it the right way. But
what made you decide that this is not meant for me? What made you?
The sheer discomfort.
Okay.
Going there, having the interactions that I used to have, as scandalous as it might be to say it, interacting with men that are there in the courts, it's not a comfortable or a safe feeling experience, right? I was told not to go for med school because it's not so nice for girls. District court is not nice for girls at all. It is a very weird or a very uncomfortable place to be in. So I didn't want my life to continue like that. And just seeing the ladies in court, I was like, other than Khushbak.
It's patriarchy in action.
Yes.
In a city court. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how I would like to put it.
Yeah. Other than Khushbak, I couldn't see any other lawyer that I would want to become like. I was like, no, I can't do this. I don't want to do this to myself.
And there's certainly very big names who have now made it to the presidencies of the council also.
Yes.
The Bar Council. But still, I wonder how much it would have taken if they don't have a solid network to rely on.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy at all.
So you served under litigation for like good 6 months, and then you decided that no, maybe corporate is what I'm going to aim for.
Yes.
Do you have a license? Did you get a license?
I do.
Okay, a lower
Yes.
court
Yes.
license. Okay, great. And then you bounced back to corporate.
I did.
But then again, the corporate experience that you spoke of wasn't very pleasant. So then what?
That's where the push that I mentioned, where my brother pushed me into
Okay.
in uncomfortable circumstances,
Right.
that's where that came into play.
Right.
He was like, give it a shot. Doesn't matter. If you don't like it, you can leave it. You're not binding yourself to slavery. Go ahead. And I did.
And then out of the 41 responded?
No,
Or-
no, no.
Okay.
This was
This was
way
something-
later.
okay, way
So,
later.
I mean, like, I did my corporate law firm for around 2 years, and then 6 months was the litigation.
Right.
So, we're like 2.5 years post having applied to 41 places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was actually approached on LinkedIn by Tapmad.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So this was, you served in a corporate law firm for how many years?
2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
And then after 6 months, for 6 months litigation, and then
Yes.
bounced back to
Yes.
corporate.
Yes.
Okay. And
So,
then Tapmad contacted you.
Tapmad reached out to me, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I mean, if it's the same thing as a corporate law firm, I had a lot of PTSD. I don't want to get back into, feeling alone or just having that much pressure, just not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
My brother pushed me for it. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I gave my interviews. Then there were multiple interviews, right? Because Tapmad's owned by two brothers, per se. Like, I mean, a lot of people, obviously, but it's two brothers predominantly. And because of that, and then there's Simpaisa as well.
Yeah.
And they were trying to hire for someone who can handle both, or like, handle one, or just they were themselves had no idea, because at that time, which is something that I didn't know at that time, they did not have a legal department.
Oh.
Yeah, they were not big enough. I mean, they both were startups, so they did not have a legal department. They had no lawyer before me. So I went through my 3 rounds of interviews. 1 in person, 2 on Zoom, because this is also a little bit post-COVID era. So
So the inception actually happened with you.
yes.
This was basically the curtain raiser.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. So I stepped in. I mean, the interviews happened, shortlisting, all of those. They're like, join whenever you can.
Right.
And I got COVID right after giving my interviews.
My goodness.
So which is why one of my interviews was on Zoom. And after recovering from it, I joined office. And from there,
And it was a
it's just-
considerably a new name back in those days?
Yes. Not just a new name, a very, like, no one
New
particularly
concept,
knew
yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
Yes. I mean,
yes, very
whoever
new
I had to
concept, yes.
explain it to would always be, it's the Netflix of Pakistan.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
when I mean, thank God, the brand awareness has changed drastically.
yes, yes.
I think the teams have grown massively since in the past 3 years that I've been there. So a lot of effort of everyone, obviously. And now Tapmad is well recognized as an OTT platform.
Yes.
Same for Simpaisa. When I joined, no one knew what it's doing, right? But when the teams grew, growth happened,
Well,
all of
people
those
weren't
things.
aware of OTTs and, and
Fintechs, all of these
and
things,
all.
nothing.
They were
Nothing
not,
was
yes,
there.
Certainly. Yes, yes. So now when you were stepping into, we were contacted by Tapmad, walk us through the intersection of this media and fintech operating system. How did that happen, and how did you sort of further analyze yourself, juggling between the two? Because it was not either or; it was like both
It's both.
coming to you.
Yeah. Originally, it was one.
Okay.
So I just
Tapmad.
joined with Tapmad. And I think they said that they want me to handle Simpaisa as well. The management said that, and I tried, but then they were like, let's just hire someone else for it. We hired another person. I was obviously in a different office, and I was not even aware of the fact that, something of this sort is going to come my way. But then there was a shift of management to Dubai.
Okay.
At that time, my CEO, he just went up and he's like, you know what? I want you to look at the legal side for Simpaisa. I was like, okay, I can, but then I'm already at Tapmad. So he's like, yeah, you can let this one go. I was like, this is my child. It's where I started the legal department. Whatever I've made of the legal department is here. I'm not going to let this one go. He's like, then do what? It's like, okay.
Great.
what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. So there
I
are two
won't be able to do
brothers
it.
who are leading these two different entities, or both are looking after,
So-
they're looking after it jointly, or one is allocated to one and the other
It's
is.
basically Yasser Pasha, who's the CEO of
Yeah.
both the companies.
Yeah.
And then Zain Pasha is
Zain
also
is-
part
okay.
of Tapmad, not part of Simpaisa anymore.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right.
when
so,
I basically, when he gave me that offer, I was like, okay,
so that offer came after how long?
a year of
A
being
year
there.
after.
Yes.
Looking after Tapmad.
A year of
Simpaisa
looking
joined
after-
in.
Yes.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'll manage. And he's like, you can make yourself a team, but I want you handling both of these things because there's plenty that I need someone to be doing, and I don't have, there's no one I can throw this at. I was like, okay, I think I'll manage. Let's see. What's the worst that can happen? I can't do it.
Yes, you won't be able to do it. I'll just give up, I'll just give up on this field now.
But that's the thing.
Yes.
I realized at that point that I don't have it to give up. I don't have it in me to give up. Right? When adversity hits me, I still try taking all the pressure. I'm like, it's okay. I mean, I will freak out, I'll get anxious, all of those things will happen. But I don't go ahead saying, I can't do this.
I can't do this. Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as I can't do this.
Yes.
We can do everything. Everyone can do
You're not
everything.
making rockets, of course.
Yes.
It is workable.
Yeah, and
Yes.
even to make a rocket,
Yes.
if you start at it, I'm
Yes.
pretty sure you'll need assistance, but you will be able to do it.
You will be able to, yes. Yes.
So the same way, I was like, I will need assistance. I will need a team. I will need, support, obviously. I'll need learning, which I will take. But maybe I can do it, right? And that is where I started building the team. Now, mashallah, we are a team of 7. 8 if you count Nepal as well.
Okay.
So I've got a legal person in Nepal who's
Nepal.
reporting to me.
Okay.
Soon we're going to have someone in Bangladesh reporting as well. So
Great.
I am handling a global team now.
Okay,
So
so it's Pakistan, it's Dubai, it's Nepal, and it's about to be Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, yes.
Okay.
In terms of country expansions, that we're doing,
Countries expansions that you are looking into.
I am looking into a lot more. So there's Iraq, there's Canada, there's
Okay.
America.
Okay.
Not America, sorry, UK.
So the current headquarters is here in Pakistan.
Operations are in
Operations
Pakistan.
in Pakistan.
Operations
and then
for
you have
both are
these
in
trenches
Pakistan,
in different countries,
Yes.
but you are currently looking into all of them. So the recruitment apparently would happen in all these areas. The legal recruitment was under you.
Yes. The legal
Okay.
recruitment, whatever gets hired, will be under me. But currently, we only have one in Nepal.
Okay.
We don't have anyone else in any other country because
Right.
there's no operations in the other countries per se, right? Like the grunt work is basically here. So that's where we are.
So how different it is when it comes to now, navigating the different landscapes. These are very, very bespoke, very unique landscapes that you talk about, media and then
Yes.
fintech. What and unique, sort of avenues makes you have a certain level of diverse skill set to be able to, grapple it. How different are the two wings from each other, and what does it take to manage the ecosystem and make it more functional for you to kind of just sort of work around with? Or how difficult it is? Is it challenging? Is it easy? Is it different? Are the operation systems completely similar for both? How does it work from a legal viewpoint?
From a legal viewpoint, they're poles apart. There's one that's OTT, it's media, it's entertainment, it's
Yeah,
content
it's completely
licensing,
different,
it's all of
yes.
those things, right?
Yes.
And then there's the other one, which is fintech, which is payment regulations and banking and everything, numbers and laws relating to how can you insure something, how laws relating money basically.
Okay, so let me ask you now. Looking for a new resource,
Yes.
what do you look for then? How do you introduce them these two platforms, or is it just that I would rather have a Tapmat team with me and then a
No.
Simpaisa team?
No, so because I get experience of all of it together,
Yes.
I don't want to deprive my team of that.
Yes, certainly.
I want
That's a
that
very
any
good way of
single
looking at it.
person who in a way graduates from my team
should know everything,
so that when they go into any other place, they're going to be like, okay, if this is something new, I can learn it, because if I could do this, I can do this as well, right? My team currently, which is in in Pakistan, it's 6 people, and all of them work on all the company, every jurisdiction, every company. It doesn't matter. It's on rotation, and now it's such that I just throw something at them and it's fine. They're so used to all the countries and both the companies that, I mean, you'll ask one a question, the other will be able to answer it very quickly. They play rapid fire with each other in a way. So I didn't want to limit it. At first, my thought process was, let's just have a separate team for both the companies. Then I was like, no, if I get to have that experience, if I get to be someone who knows fintech and who knows media, then why should they be deprived, right? This is something that I didn't get.
And coming from a completely alienated zone altogether, having no idea about these two sectors.
Exactly.
And then jumping into, figuring yourself
figuring it out myself. Yes. I figured it out myself, and I think that was my learning curve. And I learned from the law firm experiences that if I am not taught, I don't want someone else to have the same experience. I want to be a better teacher. So I make sure that whenever I answer questions, there's no such thing as a stupid question or an unnecessary question or too many questions.
Yes.
And like we sit nearby, we have like a glass wall in front of us, like right across the glass wall are they, and they will just shout a question at me and I will be answering. They'll just walk in, I'll be on their desk almost all the time just chatting around. I've got a very comfortable relationship with them, which is something very unusual in both the offices, like in both the companies. There isn't an age, there might be HODs of my age perhaps, but the relationship I have with my team is very different.
Yeah.
They're all my friends. They're all my...
They're siblings, yes.
Yeah, they're my siblings.
This is exactly how we should, this is how exactly what a leader should look like, you know? Because there is a very clear distinction between you leading the pack and you ensuring that you lead either the pack from the front or behind.
Yeah.
And the best way to do it is to be at the back, to push your people in the front and have this democratic sort of culture where their opinions, they're heard, they're valued, they're listened to.
Exactly.
And like you mentioned earlier, that you need to have a say at your workplace. That is extremely important. You don't want to be an invisible entity.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of these two very distinctive entities, what has been the most recurring challenges that you faced? And then how do you go about prioritizing them? Both for Simpaisa and Tapmad, since the earliest stages till something that you think that, okay, fine, this is constantly, escalating in terms of becoming now an impediment in my way, which needs to be tackled. Any challenge that came very strongly that you remember and or has been recently, sort of rectified by you and by your expertise? Something that you would like to share in terms of the work challenges that it brought?
Work challenges relating to legal field or work challenges as an environment?
I would rather talk about as a whole, holistically speaking, where your expertise were then, obviously a part of it.
The thing with Pakistan and laws is that for both the things that we're doing, the amount of laws or regulations are very limited in Pakistan. Currently, we don't have any OTT regulations at all. A paper for that has been, is in works and it's being discussed, but we don't have it regulated per se right now. For the fintech side, we've got a lot of, different licensing available and all of those things, regulations per se, but they're very critical and they're very difficult to abide by. And there's also, their scope of each license is also very limited, which kind of, if you want to do a more holistic product, it becomes difficult to do it when you've got your licenses limiting your scope, right? So with such stuff, what happens is that the regulatory challenges is something that I think has been a tough one to deal with.
Okay.
For that, I think that's where all the shows that you watch and all the the Suits and the Boston Legals and all of those come into play, right? That's where you have to find something that is gonna make it work.
Make it work.
Right?
And it did happen. And it did happen.
It did happen. It did happen. So a play of words, I mean, I wouldn't obviously get into the details of it, but play of words is very important in
the
our
legal
field,
profession, yes,
right?
Certainly.
I think it's important in all fields, but in the legal field, it kind of creates that impact, right? I mean, I didn't say something, but I said something.
Yes.
Or, you know, that's how you have to manage
That's
these
where
things.
diplomacy plays a very huge role.
Yes.
And you need to be, that is how you tactfully handle words and statements and make them work for you.
Exactly.
So it is just, sort of a very smart sort of structuring of statements and words.
Yes.
Mahnoor, I mean, this has been very different, but now since we are stepping into a very technologically evolving world altogether, how do you look at the AI tools, paving their way in? Because there has been a very sort of active reliance the students and this generation has when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
I believe that there is a chunk which is unlike us, where we used to rely on our own creative germs, and thankfully it didn't rust our brains to that extent. It is still churnsome, but obviously when you start using these AI tools, the reliance is to that extent that you kind of like just become slightly lazy or casual, with your creativity, with what your human capabilities are, sort of, I personally feel they're humiliated because you don't work these engines.
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful
sort
of mechanics.
A lot of potential.
Yes, it has a lot of potential.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we don't put them to use because now we have comfort and convenience in our hands. How do you look at it now?
I think.
And what is your advice to the youngsters?
You very perfectly put it. It's making us very lazy.
Yes.
Right? I don't think AI can do what a human mind can do. Everything is out there for assistance, right? I mean, you use AI to improve or to make things better, sure. All right? You do it as something to teach you something, by all means. But when you start using it as a replacement of your own brain, that's where the problem starts. Right?
Yes.
Because there used to be this term, it's still like a term coined for this that says, "Nakal ke liye bhi akal ki zarurat hoti hai." Right? When you're doing when someone's doing ChatGPT, they need to make sure that what they're producing, does it reflect of their own brain at the very least?
No, I don't think so.
You know? People are getting so lazy. But I mean, the new generation, unfortunately, is getting so lazy that they will just ChatGPT things and hand it over to you without even proofreading it. And you'll be able to tell the stuff in bold will be there in bold. The formatting will be aptos as per the the text that ChatGPT offers. She's gonna be like, if this took me, I could have done this myself.
Yeah, you could have.
You know?
That's exactly what.
I mean,
there was another group head legal of another very big giant, and she was like, "Fine, it's a tool, but Adeela, in a jiffy, I can tell.
yes.
In a jiffy, I can tell that this is.
First paragraph, and you can tell.
I can tell it's not by their work.
Yes, because I mean, you ask them to do it themselves, they will not. The thing is, we were able to. We did not have ChatGPT. I can draft an email on my own without ChatGPT. I'm just going to use something very basic, something very, like first step.
Yeah.
The new generation is not able to do that.
They're not even, they're jumping on the 10th step.
And
10th step is not their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
We learn from step 1 till 10.
Yes.
They are creating 10.
Exactly.
But 10 is not their own.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they can't do. And you tell them that, just draft me an email. Don't use ChatGPT.
They won't be able to.
And what comes in front of you is like a two-liner, and you're just going to be like, what do I do with this?
Yes.
It does not give anything. Or either it's going to be a two-liner, or it's going to be everything that you said verbatim.
Yeah.
thrown on the paper,
Yes.
handed over to you.
Handed over to you,
No
yes.
creativity, no
Nothing.
personal touch,
No,
no
nothing.
brains put in.
No.
I think that is the con of using artificial intelligence. Use it to beautify your work, use it to amplify it, by all means do that, right? I mean, it's not that I don't use ChatGPT.
Yeah, we all do.
We
yes,
all use
do.
ChatGPT.
Yes, yes.
I use it for it to teach me stuff. You know, if I don't understand a concept,
something, you know,
if I
teach
don't,
me.
yeah, so I'll ask
Find
it
me
for,
sources, yeah.
to find me sources, to often, quite genuinely, I ask it to dumb things down for me. You know?
So that I can, you know,
So
just
that I can
construct something of
grasp
my
it.
own.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that my understanding of it is something that my brain made, not something that's been handed over to me by artificial intelligence. But that thing of wanting to learn is starting to slowly and gradually lag.
Yes. Yes.
And it takes effort to get them to get back on the millennial track.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's happened with me that, I mean, I'll be handed ChatGPT to work, agreements made via ChatGPT, and I'll just be like, how can a confidentiality clause be for 3 lines and it be enough? I mean, it needs to cover everything. It's a very
yes.
important clause in the
Yes,
agreement,
yes,
right?
certainly.
But if you ask ChatGPT to do it, ChatGPT is going to give you 3-liners, and you're going to be like, oh, looks enough to me.
Yeah, certainly, yes. And the generative AI, we were discussing this with our boss, and he was of the point that it is, you know, if you want to use it, but unfortunately, it is giving the answers. And now, rather than using our brains, what we did was in the generative AI or other specialized tools, what we did is that we made it more bespoke. So now there is a legal AI.
Yeah.
Which has all the legal cases and the case laws in its archives.
Yeah.
And now it's going to pick up from the relevant sources. So way to go, you know. Lesser work.
Lesser work.
But unfortunately, the sector and the industry that they belong to, the only way for them to have a signature and to constantly climb up the ladder of success and to have their own individuality ingrained in every particular case, which is, you know, I keep saying that you know, lawyers are not lawyers, they are public servants. These are they are faces who have people's life at stake.
Absolutely.
Right? So money, life, emotions, you play with, not cases where you're not, yes, livelihoods.
Yeah.
So and this is it's a stigma. I know it's not going anywhere. We will have to befriend it to a certain extent. But I just hope that today's generation is smart enough to understand that it's just a tool which can be, you know, sort of, in a way, in some way or the other, it can be seized at any given point in future.
Exactly.
Then what?
Then what?
Then what?
Then
you're
what
doomed.
will you do? Exactly.
You know?
You need to know how to manage life without it. And then use it to make it better.
Like
That's it.
I rely on my phone, but even if it's not there one day, I think I can survive.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't rely on it completely. It's a very important part of our lives now. But,
Extremely
you know,
important part of our lives.
Extremely important.
Yes.
Extremely. The work is on it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very unfortunate that we have become this, you know, this generation of gadgets and lasers and rays and, you know, everything technological, and our lives are revolved around it. But, you know, there has to be. So how, Mahnoor, should we, or what is your coaching to your team now, and which kind of work are they able to produce through the coaching that you are being instilling in them?
So the thing that I started doing was, I said,
is there some like sort of a limitation? Is it an embargo that, you know, to a certain extent they can go, or they are, you know?
So my boss taught me to not be a micromanager. My boss is an amazing boss.
That's the best,
the best you can have, right? And when your boss stops being a micromanager, it kind of instills this thing in you that, oh, they trust me. So if they trust me, I can't break this, right? I need to perform as per it. So I tried instilling the same thing into my team, right? That I will not tell you how or where to use ChatGPT, right? But I want to see your mind in the product as well, because it's your responsibility to provide the right stuff to me. So use it, amplify your work with it, by all means, go ahead. But it should not be something that's just purely ChatGPT. Because if you're just gonna do that for me, I can do it myself. I don't need another resource for it.
Oh, yes.
I need you to learn so that when you get out of here or when you don't have this, you're still someone who's functioning and who is a proper lawyer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, show your credibility, show your worth.
You're being paid for it.
Exactly.
You know, you're being paid for it. It has to be something that is, and the reason that you're there, the reason that I'm there as a manager is only because, you know, I'm going to bring something unique to the table.
Yes.
You know, so otherwise, I think half of the team is going to go redundant in the next few years.
Yeah.
You won't be needing it. You will just sit for a couple of, couple of students and teenagers who can use AI tools.
Exactly.
And then get
I'm
the work
just
done.
that's your task
Yes,
list.
that's your
Please
task.
complete
Please
and go
complete
home.
it. You give them, you know,
Yeah.
a couple of peanuts and they will be happy with it. So when you talk about, when you go through your trajectory and we study the legal cases and the contract negotiations and licensing agreements that you have been a part of, any challenge that apparently you think, any particular case that you think of that you would like to share that taught you something or challenged your perspective as a corporate lawyer? Any negotiation that you thought of, any legal case in these two evolving industries that you're a part of?
I think
because as a corporate lawyer, we think that, you know, they might not have any apparent challenges. You know, they're
that's not true.
so
That's a misconception. So I think in the past 3 years, the kind of growth that I've had, I don't at one point think that I was ever stagnant,
wow.
right?
Wow.
And I
Great.
still think there's plenty to learn because law is ever evolving, right? And with see, if it was just one field, maybe there would have been some redundancy because, like, you know, I mean, it's just one country. There's just no regulations, for example. How much can I learn?
Yeah.
You know, there's a ceiling to it. But when there are multiple jurisdictions and there are two companies, two opposite regulations, like two
Yes,
opposite
completely.
products, it just never ends. I mean, half the time I'm literally just trying to stay afloat, right? To manage that, okay, I know my thing.
Yes,
I understand what's going on.
And highly regulated
Highly
sectors,
regulated.
highly regulated.
Yes.
That's what my next question is, that how do you even stay ahead of compliance in those two industries, you know?
It's not.
It's
It's a constant challenge, right? Because the compliances are not just dependent on me, right? It's dependent on an entire workforce, right? You need to have, like, it's every team has a dependency. Every team, you need to get things from every single person. Those kind of things create a lot of challenges that, I mean, I can manage myself. I can make myself work faster. I can make myself produce results, but I can't do that for everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, so those kind of dependencies make the whole concept of in-house legal counsel a lot more complicated and challenging than most of us assume for it to be. I mean, before getting into it, it used to be like, oh, I'm going to do the grueling hard work for a few years and then I'm going to be comfortable in-house.
Yes.
You know, because it's a 9 to 5, there's AC, there is, you know, you're going to have your desk and you're just going to chill.
It's constantly evolving and it's constantly challenging. It's all
Yes.
constantly coming up. You have to catch up.
You have
with
to
the
catch
times,
up with
you
the
know.
times. You have to catch up with the times because there is no such thing as I've read enough. You know?
Yeah.
With
There's something
laws,
new. There's something new every
with
single
laws,
day.
there's no such thing as you've read enough because it's not limited. It's detailed. It's different jurisdictional. Everything has an impact on what you're doing. You can't at any point. It's the same way with, I think, any academic field per se, right? I mean, with numbers, you have a stop point. Any numerical field, like, you know, with chartered accountancy or anything of that sort, numbers have a stop point. You get to an end.
Yeah.
I think with it's finite. With anything academic, it's not.
It's not.
You don't have a stop point. You know?
Especially in you know, jurisdictions like ours.
Yes.
You know, there's always something new coming up.
And with, you know, so many loopholes and so many, you know, ways out and this and half things getting done because, you know, someone was able to get things done through their contacts whatsoever, it gets really complicated.
I think it's very interesting, and the reason I asked because a lot of girls are now fascinated with this field, and it's considered to be quite obvious that since litigation might not be the best suited pathway, the fallback is apparently on corporate law.
Yes.
And corporate avenues and in-house opportunities or other non-conventional, non-orthodoxical public sector jobs. Um, what would your recommendation, advice be to these students who are now, as lawyers, as LLB honors students or young professionals stepping into the field, juggling through their pathways? Also, those who are slightly reliant on the tech side, on the tech sector. How to brush up or polish their craft, how to develop and hone the skill sets. Um, are there any courses that you would recommend? Are there any practices, any exercises they should do? What should they do to actually stand out and create a distinction from the herd? Because it's not easy. It's going to be very competitive out there in the in-house side also. You need the best ones. Even I get these employers asking me, send me good interns. And I was like, what does good means? They're interns apparently. But I know what they mean by good. They're like, Adeela, we also need to be motivated enough to actually get started from some point, right? So help us be motivated. Send us people who actually know something and they're able to produce the deliverables.
That is the most important bit.
Yes.
So I think I'm not trying to take a dig at any generation here, or anything of that sort.
Of course not.
But the thing with the recent generation, which is Generation Z, they have this attitude that if something's difficult, they'll give up. Right? I think that has a lot to do.
Not meant for me.
It's not meant for me. Yes, I'll try something else.
Yeah.
It's called hopping as well, job hopping per se. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I appreciate the fact that they're very empathetic and they understand their own emotions and they have the emotional availability to understand all of those things. That's great. But when it comes to work, you need to have some persistence. You're not going to know it on the first day. And no one's going to come and teach it to you.
Yeah.
That's a very important thing that you have to have in your mind. No one's going to come and spoon feed the work to you.
Like Mel Robbins said, nobody's coming.
Nobody's coming.
Nobody's coming. Yeah. You have to pick up your own pace.
Exactly.
Become your own parent, she said. Become your own parent.
Exactly.
And know that in order to give you motivation, nobody from the outside world is going to come.
Yeah.
You're not getting out of bed. Nobody's coming.
Nobody's coming.
So then that is what made her write that 5-second rule book also.
Yeah.
That you jumpstart, count backwards, and this is exactly what she coached. That if you think that you're stuck somewhere, count backwards.
Yeah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then something will happen. So nobody's coming. That is what exactly you are pointing towards, I believe.
Exactly. And when you've got, whatever place you go to, so you asked if there's any course, right? Or if there's any teaching or any training. Nothing's going to teach you the practical experience till you actually take the practical experience, right? If I go to a coaching center, they're not going to be able to give me what the actual law firm is going to give me. The experience will always be different, right? So go experience that. And when you're in a workplace, don't just sit expecting things to come to you. You're not. It's not going to come to you. This is not how in the professional field. It's not how it works. You need to be the one who takes initiative. Go ask for work. If someone's not coming and giving you work, go ask for work. If you're done with your work, tell them that you're done and you ask for more work.
Yes.
Right? This is the age where we struggle. If we struggle today, we're gonna be better professionals tomorrow.
Certainly.
Right? And have the can-do attitude. Right? So I am in a field that I had no clue about. I did not know what OTT regulations are or what the OTT side of the world is. I had no idea what the FinTech side of the world is. And I'm someone who doesn't understand fin or tech either. I am great at mental maths, but I'm not great at add maths or calculus, all of those things. And same for tech.
Yes.
I mean, if my phone goes haywire, it's a problem for me. I can't do it.
Yes, certainly.
Right? So, fintech is extremely challenging. But I am in it. I am heading the legal department for it. Not because I hired a teacher to come teach me, not because I've got a CLO over me teaching me.
Yeah.
I report to the chief operating officer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's not a lawyer. So I don't get legal teachings of any of it from anywhere.
But you just did not give up.
Yes. So I will get a call from my boss telling me, listen, this is what we need. Be like, okay, do I know what it means? Chances are I don't. Right? There have been many instances. There have been many instances where I've been asked that, okay, this is an agreement that we need, or this is a document that we need, or we need to do XYZ things. And I'm going to be like, okay, we'll do it. And tell me what all needs to be done. And I'll note it all down. And then I'll be like, okay, now I need to figure out how can I do it. They don't need to know that I don't know.
They don't
I will figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
And I will do it. And if it's not done right, then I will apologize and learn.
Yes.
But I will try my best. I will give it my 100%.
Absolutely.
So that is something that I think the Gen Z is scared of doing. More than like being lazy about it. I feel like they're very well in tune with their emotions, but this is a fear that they're not too in tune with. They don't want to be uncomfortable. Learning is very uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes, certainly.
Yeah, growth is very uncomfortable. And I asked the Mahnoor 10 years ago, she did not know she'll be here. And she knows the kind of anxieties and discomfort and, your brain, your body, all of it goes through a certain pressure.
Do you think there's an issue of entitlement when it comes to the Gen Z?
Yes.
There is, right? We are being humble, but, with all, I love Gen Zs. I mean, but with all due respect, there is an issue. And the reason I'm trying to, bring it and surface this problem is because then they get disheartened very quickly.
Yes.
I think the world is not, justified when it comes to their capabilities. And they're too, so being ambitious is good, but overstating yourself before you even know better is something that, you're going to struggle with.
Yeah.
Because the world out there is harsh enough. We have, thankfully, strike the right balance of being hard and soft.
Yes.
Yet at the same time.
We're soft towards others and hard on ourselves.
Hard on ourselves. Yes. Eventually, So and then that somehow paid off because we are now able to create the right balance with dealing with the millennials and as well as the Gen Zs. So I think this was the generation where the best balance was created somehow. We are not very orthodoxical and yet not very contemporary.
Yes.
We're the right balance.
Yeah. So we hear the new thoughts and we might agree with you if you can justify it properly.
And we're very insistent in our work life. So it seems like very immortal lifespan when it comes to work.
Yeah.
Why? Because we have this capability of absorbing and learning, and then we keep on furbishing, and the life trajectory expands.
Exactly.
So we keep on fitting. So that is an issue of. And one more thing that I want you to please help the audience understand. Like you mentioned that, for experience, you need to gain experience. For exposure, you need to get the exposure. But then, from the very beginning, everything that comes on my table is, Miss, I am only going to be interning if it is only these 3 law firms, the top ones, and that's it. Please, understand. And they are very adamant in letting me know that, so I'm in the first year or the second year. I will intern, certainly, but please understand, not any of these lesser than these.
Yeah.
So please help them understand that learning and coaching, because you're talking from your experience also, is not going to come from the top tier law firms. Top tier comes way later, You need to get the grunt in when it comes to the mid-tier and the low, the average tier firms, or even the startups. That is exactly where you will get the learning in, and that's going to be so much fun to develop those core skill sets.
Exactly.
And after 6 months, 10 months, a year, then hunt for some, solid structure. But
So,
understand this point.
these first tier law firms, how did they become first tier?
Yes. Yes.
They've got major clients.
Yes.
Right? They've got a lot of work, and they've got a lot of people who are great at work. But none of them started there.
Yeah, no, none of them.
Right?
Certainly.
So they started somewhere, they learned somewhere, and then they made something that was top 3. Right?
Oh, yes.
So there's this one element that Gen Z needs to understand, or the new grads need to understand, that you need to first learn and be worth getting into this. You need to have enough academic value, not academic value, experience, professional value, corporate value to get into it first. And second is, when they are at the top 3, they've got so much on their plates, they don't have time to teach. What are you going to go and do in a top tier law firm? You're going to be getting an Excel sheet to maintain files. So they're going to be like, that's the file room. These are all the files that we don't have the time to file. So please file them for us. That's what you're going to be doing as an intern at a top tier law firm.
Certainly.
Because they generally don't have time for all of those things, right? They don't have time to teach you.
Train, yes.
A mid-tier law firm or an average law firm will still have the time to give you 15 minutes of the day to tell you. I mean, I am not saying they're going to be very nice. I'm not saying they're going to be very kind. Every single lawyer out there is extremely pissed off at life. We're frustrated, and they've got too much on their plates. They're going to be rude to you. They're going to grill you. They're going to ask you questions you're not going to know the answers to. But tough skin is developed that way, and that's the only place you learn.
Certainly.
Right? I mean, I've done an internship at Citibank.
Same.
It's a big
Me
name.
too. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How was your internship? Did you learn anything over there? 6 weeks of internship.
Rotation. The moment one department gives up, they say, okay, now Adeela, you'll rotate to the other department. Your rotation starts now. So then I'm rotated to operations. From operations I'm rotated to HR. From HR I'm reported to the regional relationship management department, the customer services. Then you go to the teller. Then you work things around.
I was in legal and compliance.
And you rust yourself in the evening.
Legal and compliance, 6 weeks of internship, out of which 4 weeks was during Ramzan. And I only did an Excel file over there. Every single day, they would get me genuinely, these folders of papers, and they'd be like, just need to put this on Excel sheet.
Certainly.
And that's all that I did.
And it's a massive name we are talking about.
Yes.
The Citigroup.
Yes.
The Citibank.
I have it on my CV, and it's a conversation starter. It used to be a conversation starter for my job
because
interviews.
nobody else questions. Everybody knows what the Citibank is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. But it got me no experience.
No experience. Certainly.
It didn't even teach me Excel. I learned my Excel when I was making my 41 law firms list.
Yes, we just made a couple of friends there, and that's it.
I didn't even make that because it was the department that I was sitting in was very male-centric, all really old gentlemen who used to have this moment of cursing at each other, right? And then they'd realize, oh, there's a lady sitting, so they'd just all of a sudden go quiet, and they'd be like, apologies for the lady who's sitting there. And then they'd be on that again. It was an everyday thing, on a row.
Agreed.
So you will not learn anything at a first-tier law firm. And that first-tier law firm being on your CV, as an internship, genuinely does not affect your employment chances.
Yes, employability at all.
It does not.
No.
I see CVs on a very regular basis. Seeing internships does not matter to me. If you've done an internship at a first-tier law firm, I really don't care. Because if you're a fresh graduate coming to me, what you say in that interview, how you respond to me, your attentiveness, your willingness to work, all of those things will matter. But that CV or that, first-year law firm, you interned over there, that's literally going to make me think, so he comes from some source, or she comes from some source that she was able to get this position.
Certainly.
That's all that I think.
Yes. And you know that the industry actually works on referrals a lot.
Exactly.
You will get, I don't want to name certain firms, but in certain firms, there is a certain quota that is given to only referrals.
Yeah.
So anybody who's sitting at the intern seat, and these interns agree, That yes, my dad was a friend of the partner, so that's why
It's
I got
something
it.
they're proud
Yes.
about.
Yes, so that's why I got there, and that is the name that I have. Now get me into something better, you know. And then they don't even give them a permanent position.
They wouldn't.
They won't.
They wouldn't. Why would they?
I have seen
They're first year, and they're not teaching anyone anything.
even
So
graduates.
how do they
Mahnoor,
get them there?
even graduates on referrals, if they're not good enough, I have known people in very leading, in-house sectors that 6 months, up till 6 months, they sat on referrals. After 6 months, they still did not seal a permanent spot because they weren't good enough. They weren't good enough.
Yes, I think mostly when people go in through referrals, they don't put in the effort as well because they believe they've secured the seat because they can,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
Now the name is there.
Yeah. So I mean, why does it matter?
When it comes to your job, and it's very brilliantly incorporated. I hope it reaches out, to a lot of students that how relevant experience at a relevant time plays a role, but most importantly, the development of your gumption is basically an eloquence of your work, and your craft is what is going to get you the job. You are in the position of drafting, negotiating, also drafting a lot of high, stake content licensing agreements, and it requires a lot of very intricate, I would say, skill set.
Yes.
What has been the most intellectually rewarding experience so far when it comes to dealing with these agreements? Something that you would like to share with us that, coming from a completely sort of alienated background, having no understanding of how these two industries operated, and yet stepping into two of these industries which are ever evolving and making their own space in the market. I dealt with an agreement which happened to be successful.
70 pages long.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And that is like no AI support?
Nothing.
Or was it? Oh my
Nothing.
goodness.
No AI support.
Wow.
70 pages long of an agreement, and I went through every single page. And then I sent it to 5 different departments with only the sections that they need to review tagged for them.
How long does it take, Mahnoor? How many days does it take?
For them to respond or for me to review?
For you to kind of like, create that structure, that complete content.
Back then or today?
Talk about your experience for anybody new who's making
So when I joined, it had been a few months into Tapmad, and that's where this 70-page agreement was set my way. And honestly, at that time, it took me a week because you lose track.
Oh, yes.
You lose track of, what did I read on page 5? Because they're referring to a clause over there, but I don't remember because, like, what do I do? So, I mean, there was a lot of rereading and, like, focusing and just sheer overwhelmed by the fact that it's 70 pages. Just seeing that it was something that used to, like, like, it looks like a study guide.
Yeah, seriously, yes.
I think Islamic law or something had a study guide that was 70 pages or something. I mean, this is an entire book.
I'm feeling uncomfortable by the fact that, okay, fine, it's a 70 page.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went through it, then I tagged it for the relevant departments, then I followed up with those relevant departments, got the clearances for it, and then it went into execution. The part where you said intellectually rewarding, I think it's 2 factors. There's Tapmad and Simpaisa, both who I've had that experience with, because that was there, and today I can do that in about an hour and a half, 2 hours of focused, just like doing it, right? Like, I just go through it. I'm like, and by the time that I'm done through like 60 pages, even 124 pages at one point, I guess, I was like, none, okay, sending it out to everyone. But conveniently, I mean, I do get like not overwhelmed, I guess, just like done mentally after reading all of that. I don't want to do any more legal work.
Yes, you get burnt out.
Yeah,
yes.
But I am able to go through it a lot quicker.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's something that's extremely intellectually rewarding, because I'm just like, I can see myself, my growth.
From a week to only skimming.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it was Simpaisa. We had hired an external law firm, a top tier law firm, and we had requested for some agreements to be made for the products that we do.
And was it required? I mean, is it a part of the legal counsel practice that they can outsource?
Yes,
very actively
absolutely.
other law firms for
Absolutely.
their certain
External law firms are a mandatory requirement for every company that's registered in Pakistan. There is a separate act for this as well.
Right.
So you need to have an external counsel on your panel.
And that has to be a constant factor. That has to be fixated.
Yes, it has to be fixated.
Or is it only, sort of erratic as per the projects?
No, you need to, as per that contract, you need to have an external legal advisor for yourself at all times.
Right.
Which is something that I very recently actually came across, even though we had someone, but the fact that it is part of the law and it is mandatory for every company, it was the new thing that I came across.
Yes.
So
you got them on board.
And yes, external counsels are people that every company that is working has external counsels, not just because there's too much work, but also for confirmation. For audit purposes, you need to have legal opinions from external law firms.
Is everything going fine? The due diligence is required.
Exactly. So we onboarded a law firm, and we told them what we want and had those meetings, and they shared a timeline with us. Law firms give you a very extended timeline, right? There's no law firm who's going to say, okay, you gave me this work today, I'll give you the agreement tomorrow, right? And then I think this was the first week, and then the second week, our business team was like, we need this particular agreement, which was part of the entire set that we had asked for, but we need it now. Like, the law firm's not going to do it ever. Even if we pay a heavy buck, even though we were paying plenty, but even if we pay extra for that time, it's not going to be practical because everyone has a lot of backlog work.
Yes, certainly.
So it's like, you know what? Let me try it. Let me give it an attempt, and then we'll see if it's something that can be worked out with. And I made my first, it's one of those template agreements, right? Something that's going to stay there permanently.
Wow.
So it's a 36-pager, I think. And after drafting that, obviously, I took help from my team. My manager worked a lot on it as well. We both together collated this 36-pager agreement. Had all relevant teams review it too, got whatever changes needed to be made, because from a commercial and operational perspective, things need to be in line with how the relevant teams want it. So we got that done, and today, that is the agreement that we use, and we actually handed it over to the external law firm to say, you review it only, but this is the template we're using.
Wow.
So that actually feels really nice.
That's excellent. That's lovely. No, I think when you, in the introduction also, when I called you a strategist by instinct, it actually it had an underlining meaning that it is somebody, and especially I think it's very important for the audience to also know, that is stepping into the corporate side, or particularly in-house specialization, requires a certain level of business acumen. How important do you think it is for a legal counsel to delve into the operations and the mechanisms of the business? Other than, or just being okay with the fact that, okay, fine, I'm in the legal wing, that's all I'm going to be looking after. I'm not concerned with, yes.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah. For in-house legal counsel, that's exactly how you're different from someone working in a corporate law firm. You are part of the company. You need to know the business as much, not obviously as much as the business person knows it, but you need to understand every single layer of it, so that, because your legal work heavily depends on it, right? If something is not being done as per the agreement, you need to know, so your agreement's catered for, tailored accordingly.
Certainly. And it's very intersectional also, right?
It's very intersectional. So it's basically words of what is happening, right? A legal document or an agreement is basically words that's practically happening in the company. So if you don't know what's practically happening, what your product does or what the business is, how are you going to put it in the paper?
Intertwine it with,
how are you going to put it in the paper? Exactly. The way, it's a specialization of sorts, right? if you're not specializing in commercial law or you're not specializing in property law by doing that in a corporate law firm, you're instead specializing in the law of whatever product you're doing.
Yes, yes.
You know, I mean, if you look at it this way, I would think I'm nowhere near being a specialist yet, but I am in the way of being in the way of specializing in fintech and OTT.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes. See?
So I mean, that is how you have to take it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to be thinking of the legals. I'm just going to make this agreement. What are you going to make in an agreement when you don't know how it works? What are you going to put in the words?
Oh, yes.
So you need to understand the business of it. You need to understand how, what, where is happening. If it's happening wrong, you tell the people it's happening wrong. If it's happening right, you need to understand that. So understanding the business, the commercials, the operations of whatever in-house position you're at, it's extremely crucial.
So when it comes to you talking now, particularly when addressing the fintech and the OTT sectors particularly, what is your take on the future of legal practice, particularly when it comes to the tech side and the fintech side and the media side? Are we slowly and gradually becoming a market that is moving towards in-house specialization? Are we now able to have a better command and hold over these very untapped niches in the market? Or is it still room for us to kind of work upon? Is the industry also responding? Is the state also responding in the same way? Are they flexible enough? From an in-house specialization viewpoint, how do you look at these niches and the future of legal practice?
So I think in the future of legal practice, when it comes to the regulatory side of things, there's still plenty of work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Certainly. It should be made a little easier, I believe. Complying with regulations shouldn't be challenging, right? I mean, it should come with a certain A, guidance, and B, just ease for even a layman to understand. I mean, I understand that we as people in the legal profession can understand the legal jargon a lot better, but it needs to be something that's accessible to even the layperson.
Yeah.
Law needs to be for the layperson. It shouldn't be for
everybody.
Exactly.
And do you think that the only reason that this doesn't happen is because people are not accustomed to change, or resist change, or not able to or not accepting of the pressure it's going to or the sort of ease, technological ease that is going to create, or the avenues it's going to create? Is it like that the state bodies and personnels in the ministries, or those who actually are the naysayers apparently, are the naysayers because of resisting change, particularly when it comes to technological advancements? They resist change. Why? Because it might not, there are certain cultural norms that they abide to. They're not used to, sort of accepting of
accepting of change,
accepting
and
of
the fact that it kind of makes
life easier,
and people less
dependent. Yes, certainly.
I think it accepting this change will make a lot of people lose control. Over people.
Very rightly put. This is exactly what the word was.
And
losing control. Yes.
The people in power don't want to lose control.
Yes, we don't want to lose control at all. Yes, certainly. So still, but you see that with people like you, you still see that when it comes to in-house practices, whether it is in tech, whether it is in pharma, there are certain law firms which are specializing in now healthcare laws, doing wonderfully well. Intellectual property, project financing, taxation, audits, and now media and fintech doing fantastically well. And all of that can only, and why is it required? Why? Because there's a huge chunk in our new generation which is more inclined towards coming up with their own babies and products. So their innovation is there, expansion is there. Looking at it's very important for us to have a very non-orthodoxical approach towards the work that we looked at
Yes.
earlier.
Agreed.
You know,
I agree with
so
you.
and then that's the only way you can let you can get with the times with the leading economies of the world. You know, so that is very essential.
And I think that's how excellence is happening in the economies that are progressing
Progressing,
well.
yes, yes,
Accepting change,
yes.
and inculcating it within their
I mean,
systems.
you're paving into Bangladesh.
Yes.
And now if you study the economy,
And
you will
paving
be
into Bangladesh
startled.
was very difficult as well. You see, that is something that when Pakistan has a payment system in place as a fintech, because the main expansion that we're going towards, even OTT for that matter, Pakistan still is more welcoming and more open to change than other countries that we're having
very.
interactions with, right? Bangladesh is not there yet. Nepal is nowhere there yet either. So there are a lot of things that we have to explain to people, and the good thing is now they're willing to learn. Now they're willing to change. Because it's becoming the need of the time. Other countries are doing it. Other countries have those technologies, have those advancements, and then obviously every country wants to progress.
And comfortably so-called a third world nation is doing it.
Yes.
So
I mean, other countries are progressing and accepting, and I think it's happening in Pakistan as well. Slowly and gradually, not as fast as we would obviously want it to be. And same for within the field as well. I think as the in-house role is getting better. It's getting more recognition.
Yes.
It's becoming something that, this is something that my AM says. He also, and something that he's heard a lot, and something that we've heard a lot as well, right? In-house lawyers are not actual lawyers.
Oh yes, we listen to
Right?
it all the time.
We listen to it all the
Yeah,
time.
all the time.
Only litigation lawyers are actual lawyers, and somewhat corporate lawyers in the law firms.
Yes.
But in-house lawyers are not lawyers.
They're not lawyers, of course. They're just fancy people with degrees.
Right? Yeah. But I mean, fact is, we're specialized in the field, in whatever company that we are in. We're specialist lawyers, right?
That's very rightly put.
I think after having had interaction with external legal counsels on numerous instances for both the companies, in-house legal support is extremely required.
Yes,
for
it's very imperative.
It's imperative for prompt response.
Yes.
Right. It keeps things going. It keeps it's fast paced. This field in itself is very fast paced. Right? I mean, when you interact with business, or when you interact with operations, and when you interact with the operational part of whatever entity you are in, you realize how fast-paced it is. And as a legal person, you have to become equally fast-paced to deliver as per their requirements.
Yes.
Right? External legal counsels, people in law firms or people in courts, for example, don't have to have that kind of rush.
Requirement.
It's not
their requirement. Yes.
मतलब आज चीज तैयार नहीं है, they can go and get another date for the hearing.
Oh yes.
That's not a problem. Same for corporate lawyers. They will not respond to the email.
Even they know frustration better.
Yeah.
In fact, they know frustration better than the in-house counsel.
Exactly.
But in-house counsel, and that is why this sector is growing. Why? Because apparently the good thing is the professionals who are taking up the lead, and these so-called non-lawyers category are apparently is specializing in those areas where they know the importance of time.
Yes.
They know the importance of getting with the times. They know that evolution in terms of a particular niche, a particular sector from a legal viewpoint, so that there are no impediments in the way of reaching a certain target.
The end goal. Yes.
The end goal is extremely crucial, and that is one of the reasons that there's a certain level of reliance that has come on from the market towards the in-house counsel.
Exactly.
For the entrepreneurs, for the startups, for the freelancers, those who want to have their own, sort of gig setups.
Exactly.
And that is extremely crucial, and that is why nobody can take that now away from you guys. So, whatever you guys are doing, kudos, way to go. And I think you guys are doing wonderfully well in creating a niche and giving certain hope. It's so important, it's so crucial for the audience to understand that it's not important. And if you could just, just give your 2 cents in this also, it's so important that to understand for any law graduate that having a degree does not mean that you necessarily need to have a license, does not mean that you necessarily should be able to file a suit, should not necessarily mean that you have to present yourself in front of a judge in a courtroom setting, can also mean that you can do wonderfully well with that legal acumen in a very non conventional stream.
True.
Where your acumen might be more suited.
Exactly.
Your
exactly.
expertise.
Not everyone is a litigator. Not everyone is someone who has the willingness or the ability or the interest of public speaking, which litigators have to do.
Yes.
Right. It's not everyone's calling.
But this legal knowledge base.
But this legal knowledge base can get you in a lot of places.
Yes, certainly.
It's not. The legal field is not one track.
Absolutely.
It is, it's got a lot of branches.
And a world of today, I think, they're lucky.
Yeah.
These people, these Gen Zs are lucky to have so many options.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't want to go for litigation, there's corporate. If they're not corporate, there's in-house. And in-house itself has so many branches, right? I mean, if healthcare was something that interests you, you can go in-house for a healthcare, company. Certainly. If numbers is what interests you, you can get into that kind of a thing. You can get into the in-house of a bank.
Yes.
It's endless. Yes. The potential and the
also
opportunities
creating a
are
space
endless.
for students in arts.
Yes.
In culinary. Yeah. In arts. They're like, we do have those creative germs,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for, so wonderfully encapsulating everything, Mahnoor. One final, because it's going to be reaching out to a larger audience, one piece of advice, suggestion, recommendation that you would like to give to the audience, that piece of advice that you thought that you should have or might have gotten at an early stage, but you did not, and you had to kind of flap your hands and feet to kind of work things around. Anything that you would like to give to them, which is going to serve as some pearls of wisdom or a treasure for them to kind of help them craft their own way.
I think I will take your words that you just said right now, and it might not be what is expected as an answer, but I would say flap your hands and feet.
Yeah. Just dive.
Just dive. my first boss, even though my experience over there was not the best of my lives, but there were two things that he said are very important for me. One was attention to detail for a lawyer is very important. So that is something that I pass on to everyone in my team, and that's something that any fresh grad, any student becoming a lawyer, hearing this, I would state it. Attention to detail is imperative for a lawyer, right? Yes. I mean, that is the make and break of your work.
Absolutely.
One, that, and the second bit, throw yourself in the deep end of the ocean. Okay? You will flap and you will flail and you will come to the top. You will resurface. And that is the only way to get to it.
Yes.
There is no shortcut to experience. There is no shortcut to get to where you have to get. Whatever is written for you in terms of time will happen in due time.
Yes.
Right? But don't be afraid of the hard work, of the grunt, of doing it, of just trying. Just try.
Yes.
If it doesn't happen, if you fail, it's okay. Failure is not the end of it. It's where you begin with experience. That's what they say.
Yes,
so, flap and flail and try. Just always try. And one of those tries is going to work out.
Certainly. I think that it's very like Richard Branson once said, whenever, and he's considered to be one of the leading Virgin Group billionaires that we know of, he said, whenever an opportunity comes my way, I know absolutely nothing about it, and I know that I don't. But what I do is, since I'm hungry and I'm an opportunist, I just take it up. I just dive. And then later onwards, when I'm questioned, that's when I figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So that, and then in 90% of the times, you end up delivering. and the opportunity stays yours.
Exactly. And you learn something out
And
of
you
it.
learn something out of it. So thank you so much, Mahnoor. It was wonderful having you over, sharing your journey, your wisdom, your very real life, raw perspectives. I think it has left everybody inspired, particularly how you have shaped the legal strategy when it comes to such high stakes sectors like media and fintech. It requires grits, and kudos to you. And I think the girls, particularly, will be very inspired and will have certain hopes looking at people like you and your mentors. And we would definitely be collaborating with you in the near future. Uh, do you, this is going to be my final question, just because, a lot of uh, very enthusiastic students come up to me asking that, Miss, are there in-house opportunities? So is Simpaisa and Tapmad, particularly when it comes to getting the recruits in, the legal interns in, are you doing something in the areas of vocational development of the students?
Yes. So, I mean,
is there an MTO program? Is there something that you're working on?
It's working on, yes. So, it's not something that we have in place yet.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that it's there.
Right.
But certainly something that I, at least for my department, am interested in doing, because I get approached by a lot of fresh grads, a lot of students already in the legal field, asking if that's something that can be possible. And I've just realized that it's just basically giving the next generation what we as all the graduates did not have.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, certainly.
So, I mean, it is something
Great,
that I'm
that would
looking
be
into.
great. Yes.
And hopefully I'll keep you updated on it too.
Yes, certainly. Thank you so much once again. And I think students, particularly girls, will be very enthusiastic to tap into these areas. And I think it's for them to know. It's for them to know which niche they belong to.
Absolutely. You test it, you try it out.
And then
if it works for you, good. If it doesn't, you test something else out. It's fine.
And as Gen Z, you know how to do it
Yeah,
better.
exactly.
Right? Exactly. You just leave it
That's
behind.
your domain.
Move on, right? Thank you so much, Mahnoor.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For all the students in the classrooms, in the courtrooms, in the boardrooms, all the graduates, all the young professionals of law, I hope that today's discourse helps you understand that this field of law is constantly expanding, it's innovating, and it is now, at this day and age, opening doors far beyond the traditional practice. I hope that conversations like these, um, leaves you curious, um, give you certain level of confidence, and make you career ready to certain extent. Until next time, stay inquisitive, stay inspired, and know that your journey in law is just the beginning. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for joining.